And clear. Do I look all right?
You look beautiful.
Thanks, man. You're not even looking at me. You're looking down.
Can you see me now? I am looking at you.
You're looking down. It looks like you're looking down. But you know, I suppose I have to look down at you, and you have to look down at me on the camera. I get you.
Yeah, you see me, yeah?
Yeah, I can see you, man.
I can see you perfectly, man. Don't worry.
Good.
I think it works. Amazingly, it works.
Yeah, good. That's a good thing.
So, Dhami Saab, do I call you Dhami Saab? Is it Amarjit or is it Dhami Amarjit?
Dhami Amarjit. I mean, Dhami Saab is just what people say to take the piss in it. I don't call myself Dhami Saab, man. That not to even take the piss. It's, you know, usually man's from India like Dhami Saab. I'm just like, just call me Dhami for fuck's sake. Yeah, Dhami Amarjit is my actual name as an artist. Because it fits better in the songs. Instead of Amarjit Dhami, it fits better to flip it the other way around.
Yeah. You know what? I've done many interviews, many people. I don't think I've ever interviewed a UK-born Punjabi lyricist. So this is a first for me. And you're a young guy. You're a young guy as well. And
thank you.
I kind of saw you know, on social media as you do.
Yeah.
I thought, who's this guy? You know, he's a lyricist. He's a young guy, and I thought, okay, maybe he's written one song. And you know, sometimes people do. They have a blast of inspiration, and they come out with one song. But this is you're getting a bit of a back catalogue now.
Absolutely. I mean, it never was intentional. It was never like there was no plan behind it. There was never like a strategic decision. Right, I'm going to start becoming a songwriter. It happened by accident. Like with a lot of beautiful things in life, it just happens, and you know, you then put the efforts in and the main thing, and then you know, it just snowballs from there, basically.
Here you are speaking to me,
which is amazing. Yeah.
So,
where are you based?
I'm originally from Gravesend in Kent.
Of course you fucking are. Look at that fucking accent, son. Look at that fucking accent.
The capital of Bhangra music, Gravesend.
Is that right? Right?
That's what we tell ourselves down there. But I'm actually, I live in Yorkshire now.
All right.
Yeah, so kind of all over the place, mate. But that's where I'm originally from.
You can tell from the accent. You can take the boy out of Gravesend, but you can't take the Gravesend out of the boy, can you?
What? I don't know what you mean. What accent?
What accent? I don't know what you mean, mate, to be honest with you.
Doesn't everyone speak like this?
No, they don't. They really don't. Really don't.
So
I don't know what you mean.
What accent you got? Is it... Where are you from? Coventry?
No, please don't say that. That's an insult, man.
Derby.
Derby is what I'm connected to. Derby's like my spiritual home. Because I've said it in lots of interviews, but I started writing lyrics because of Tru-Skool. He sort of introduced me into this whole game. And that's where I'm quite often you'll find me in the studio and stuff. But I'm Leicester born and bred.
You're from Leicester originally, yeah. So as a young lad, you was just writing songs, and I mean, how did you meet up with Tru-Skool?
Okay, basically, Tru-Skool obviously was a music producer. He made Word Is Born and Represent, two of the biggest albums in the last sort of 20 years, in my opinion, in the UK Bhangra and international sphere as well, because a lot of artists took inspiration from these guys' creations. He released an album called Raw as Folk. And he sang a song on there as well, and he sounded quite similar to Chamkila. And when I heard that song, I was like, this is nuts, man. Like, I used to listen to the sample. For some reason, when they released the teaser of that song, they did it all the way until even the drop. So I just kept listening to him. Like, this guy's like, and I never knew it was him singing. And then I saw a video on his page saying, oh, this is me singing the Chamkila song, and he sang a Chamkila song on his page, and I heard it and I was like, yo, bloody hell, man, you sound sick. I commented, I goes, you sound sick. Teach me how to sing and play the bajja. Like, you never really meant it. I just said it. And but he added me on Facebook. and he goes, Kedna boy. And then I was a bit like starstruck, to be honest with you. I was like, bloody hell, Tru-Skool, like these guys are massive right now. They made some of the baddest albums. Yeah. Send me a number.
Why do you think he added you?
I don't know, I think because he was teaching JK at the time. He was teaching JK how to sing. JK hadn't released yet with Gabru Punjab, the single. So I never even knew he taught. But then he must have thought, well, this guy obviously it looks like he wants to learn how to sing. And obviously he knew that he taught people to sing, but I didn't know that. And then I think we just spoke on the phone, and then he sort of tries to gauge you, and it tries to gauge what vibe you're on, to understand where you come from, what your family upbringing is, what you like listening to sort of draw a picture in his head then of, okay, is this the kind of person I want to allow to sort of come to my house or enter the studio or not, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then obviously must have connected, because we've been together now as as a student teacher for years, like Mr. Miyagi. But no, he don't make me do wax on, wax off.
No. Yeah, so okay, that's quite interesting. So he must have seen something in you to just call you up and add you on Facebook and have a chat with you, ask you about your family. He wanted to know the whole history of you, really, to make sure you fitted in with his certain way of working.
Yeah, I mean, I think because what it is with him, I mean, like with any artist in the world, like he's just a normal human being. He's an individual person, and he doesn't have airs and graces. A lot of artists do. He doesn't. He's just real. He's just, and I think a lot of us have learned a lot from that, because, like when I did the Surendra Shanda concert a few months ago, I hosted the whole event for Brit Asia with a girl called Rajdeep Shukkar who hosted it. She's a female host, and a lot of people, honestly, during the interval and after the show were like, I want to take a picture with you, Dhami, you did so good, blah, blah. And you know what? It didn't make me excited. It didn't make me think I'm something special. And I think I've seen Tru-Skool, and I've seen what he's achieved in the industry, and I've seen the accolades and all the stars coming to his house, and he's still the same. And I think it taught us a lot, about humility and keeping your feet on the ground, because we do this music for passion. We love it, you know what I mean? And when people give you love, it's so nice, but it doesn't make us Jamlu anymore.
No, I get that. But so, you're saying you hosted that show. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But, and you said, people coming up to you afterwards, because you did do good. What I did see online, it was fantastic. It looked like you've done it all your life, really.
Never done it before.
So it's obviously another, bow to the string. Yeah.
It was weird, man.
String to the bow.
String to the bow. That's right. Yeah. See, Punjabi is all right for me. English is where I struggle.
I struggle with both. I know. So
that show, I never knew I was going to host it. I actually bloody bought a ticket to watch the show. Initially, because I wanted to support the show, because I wanted to see those musicians with Surendra Shanda, legend of Punjabi music.
Yeah.
And then Tru-Skool goes to me, oh, by the way, you might have to host it 2 weeks before the show. I'm like, no, I'm watching the show. And he went, what, you don't want to host? So he does this thing, like, it's like a blackmail, but it's not black. He's like, so you don't want to host Surendra Shanda's live show in the UK, this singer you've seen your whole life from when you were a kid, and you loved all his albums. I'm like, okay, so fine, I'll bloody do it. Obviously you want to do it, but then at the same time, as a fan of music, I just wanted to watch the show.
Was you slightly nervous as well? Something you probably didn't think about. I know you're thinking about writing songs, possibly singing as well, but
yeah.
I mean, hosting a show, or did you just take it all in your stride and thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to go for it?
We didn't practice, I didn't rehearse. The co-host with myself, Rajdeep, Shoka, she did a really good job as well. We didn't practice. We just met each other on the day, didn't speak on the phone or anything, and we just freestyled the whole thing. Literally, it was basically what I thought was, the people come to see Surendra Shanda, they're like my family, because they're the same kind of people. One of these thoughts to be same, one of that taste to be same, yeah. And I thought, well, I'm just going to chat to my family and have a laugh with them. And literally, that's how it came across, and it was awesome, man.
No, you've done a fantastic job, definitely, and I'm sure we're going to see you on stage again, without a doubt. So you're saying when people came up to you afterwards and said you've done a fantastic job, that didn't really excite you, and it's not really something you was looking for. But I'm sure when you first met Tru-Skool, that must have been an exciting moment, at least.
Absolutely. See, I mean, it's quite kind of crazy, because now it's like, say you don't work at a company, you're always fascinated by a company for some, depending on what you do, of course, like say you're a lawyer and you want to join a prestigious law firm, you're always fascinated looking at their chambers or how they, you know what I mean? And but when you're there, then it becomes a part of your, just part of you, basically. So when I first met Tru-Skool, it was like, wow, man, this is Tru-Skool, the multi-talented musician, producer, vocal coach, artist, And then sometimes he'd ring me and say, oh, do you want to come down to the studio? So-and-so is coming to do the vocal. And I'll be like, yo, that's amazing. And then after a while, it became so normal for me. Like, it wasn't planned again. I never thought I'm going to be around Tru-Skool doing this, that, and the other. It just happened because we clicked so well. And then it becomes so like people like the Sanj coming down to the studio, and he's now become a personal friend of mine. Like, and again, it wasn't intentional; it just happened. We just clicked again. And then I don't sort of get as excited. But then sometimes I sit in the car or I'll be driving home and I'll be like, wow, I just got to spend time with X and Y and Z and do this, this and this. Like Surendra Shindal, for example, he knows me personally because I've been around when Tru-Skool's there. And, he even asked about me before the show, like, oh, munda kitte hai? So it's like, who? Oh, jada munda, bada biba munda. So it's like, who are you going on about? And he goes, Dhami. And, like Surendra Shindal, who, we love this guy, as an artist, as a personality, and him asking about me, that's just mad. So I think when I say, like, I mean, it's not like you don't look for props, but when people give you props, it's very appreciated. It's very humbling. It's very encouraging as well. I think that's the main thing. It gives you motivation to do more good things. It
is amazing, really. Like you said, we grew up listening to these people's music, Yeah. Shindar Manik, Gurdas Mann, people like that, and to spend time with them, and you're not going to see them in a show, you're working with them on something.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's a different level than just going to see a show. You're working on a project together with them, something personal to them. And I mean, you're a young guy. How old are you? 20-ish?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, perfect. Spot on. See. So, I mean, you're in your 20s, you're a young guy.
Yeah.
It's, when I was in my 20s, I was, I didn't really know what I was doing, but you kind of have a goal in your mind, So when you did meet Tru-Skool, was it to write songs or was it to sing?
No, it was literally we started speaking on the phone, and then I lost my phone. And then when I got my phone back, I got my phone back, and when I say lost, let's just say I had a brush with the law. When I was younger, you're hot-headed, and everyone thinks they're Rambo around town. You know what I mean? My phone got confiscated by the police at the time.
Right. You didn't throw the phone at them or something?
No. My phone got confiscated, for evidence gathering or whatever. And God, I'm giving too much information. Maybe don't include this. And when I got my phone back, I was like, I rang him up and I goes, it's been a long time, man. How you been? And he went, yeah, I'm good, man. What have you been up to? I was like, just been up to this, that, and the other. And he's like, all right, okay. He's like, why don't you come Derby sometime? And I was like, yeah, I could do. I was like, when you come in Leicester? He goes, actually, we're coming tomorrow. So the day I got my phone back, the next day he was coming to Leicester. And he goes, why don't you link up with me? And I was like, all right, then cool, that'll be wicked. And we met at De Montfort University, and he was there with JK, who wasn't JK at the time. He was just Jit, he was just a student and a friend. And we started hanging out, and then he started quizzing me, oh, can you speak Punjabi properly? Can you say the word Guri? Can you say Bhangra? And I was like, yeah. He's like, how do you know how to say all that? I was like, because my parents are from Punjab, we're
that was his test.
It was interrogation. Then he's like, you got good Punjabi, man.
Yeah. Can you say Guri and Bhangra, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But you'd be surprised how many people can't.
Yeah.
That are in the industry, by the way.
Absolutely, yeah, it's true, man. But then I want to defend the UK on one part, right? Because we always get picked on by people from India saying, what about these guys, man? Hello, dear.
Yeah.
Darling. They call each other darling. Like, don't call a guy darling, man. That's just weird.
Yeah.
And then they say loads of things, and you're thinking, that doesn't make no sense. Full sport. It's not sport. Yeah. It's full support. Yeah. It's not sport. It's not a game. Yeah. And obviously, there are people out there in the industry who can't speak Punjabi properly, or who they struggle. I would say, that I'm not anyone to tell anybody to do anything. But if you want to be a lawyer, you have to study. You have to do the knowledge. If you want to be a accountant, you have to do mathematics. You have to do the knowledge. If you want to be a singer or a DJ or a producer in the Punjabi scene, you should learn Punjabi. You should you should literally take instruction. If you look at other professionals in any field, they'll take professional instruction. I think Punjabi music's the only field where it's just like, koi nahi, kar lange. And it's like,
no.
I think it's like you're cheapening your own worth. I think if you're not fully knowledgeable.
I think if you want to be a Punjabi singer, writer,
mm-hmm.
probably the prerequisite or the most important thing you should know is Punjabi.
Yeah,
it would help. Baki will happen, but the Punjabi part's probably the most important, right? So
100%.
But for you, it seems natural. You probably grew up in a family much like my own, where I speak Punjabi to my mum still.
Correct.
And my dad, Gade Punjabi bol there. And when we was at school, we spoke English. And
that's right.
And a mix with our Punjabi mates of English, Punjabi, and So I've got young children, and they speak English. And
yeah, of course.
I try and speak to them in Punjabi sometimes, not as much as I should. My mum does to them. And they struggle sometimes, and I kind of see that generation growing up, maybe not knowing Punjabi well, and I don't want them to be them.
Correct.
That
what we just talked about in a sense, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll be honest. साडी किस्मत चंगी सी करके साडे मम्मी डैडी सानू धक्के नाल पंजाबी स्कूल भेजदे सीगे. So I'd have to go Punjabi school in the Gurdwara on Tuesday and Thursday. I'd have to go to Prahlad Singh Badwal Gurbani class on a Monday and a Saturday. So Saturday mornings when my cousins are playing PlayStation or football, I had to go to the Punjabi class. Sunday, there was another Sunday school for Punjabi. My nana lived with us, so so we'd speak Punjabi all the time at home. So that really helped. I hated all of that as a youngster, but I'm so appreciative of it. So I'm so appreciative. I'm struggling in English again. Appreciative of that right now,
Absolutely. I mean, it's come to fruition now, hasn't it, for you?
Absolutely.
All that hard work. I remember when I was younger, I wanted to be a Punjabi singer, right? And
awesome.
And I could speak Punjabi at home, but I couldn't. I wanted to read and write it. But I didn't go to Punjabi school, but there was a teacher who lived around my way, and so I took lessons to learn Punjabi, reading and writing, and it really helped, obviously, because I think. So, can you read and write Punjabi fully? Or
yeah. I can. Do you know what it is when it comes to reading and writing? I don't practice it as much as I should. I mean, I should read and write more often, but I try to do it as much as I can. I mean, if somebody puts an article up in Punjabi, I'll make an effort to read it, on Facebook or whatever. A lot of people now on Facebook, including me, just write Punjabi in English, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you just use your keyboard and tap it in, like, Baiji, 22G and Bire, 20 RAY and Tera, 13. 1, 2, 3, Tera.
Is that how it works? Right, yeah.
Shorthand, that's right, yeah.
I know a few, top UK singers that you would never know, but they write their lyrics in English Punjabi.
Yeah.
You know,
I can believe that.
And you would never know. So it can work, whatever works for you. So when did you first write your first song?
So the first official song, do you mean, like the official first track?
No, not even official, because that's kind of like, we know this is your first song. But on your own, at home, and think, is this any good? It might be shit. I don't want to show anyone this. And
have you seen a film called Shaheed De Mohabbat by Gurdas Mann?
Gurdas Mann, yeah, with fantastic songs.
That's right.
That album is fantastic.
With that story about Bhutta Singh and how he crossed over to Pakistan to find his wife and all that stuff.
That's right, yeah.
I actually wrote like maybe 10, 12 years ago, I just wrote like his qissa kind of thing. I just wrote his story. It was like 13 verses long. I go to Tru-Skool. I didn't think of writing anything. I just wrote it. And I go, what do you think of this? He goes, it was too long. And I went, yeah, but like, what do you think of it? He goes, it's too long, end of story. And I went, yeah, but what about the lyrics? He went, I don't care. He goes, it's too long. And I was like, all right, fair enough. Then I just ripped up and threw it in the bin, because I thought, what's the point anyway? It's too long, whatever. That's when I first sort of gave it a go. But then when it actually started, the process was when I was in the studio with Tru-Skool around the time of the Sanj Back to Basic album, because I was there throughout the whole process. And we're in the studio, and DJ Sanjay just had a song come out with a Garden MC, and the track was Munde Kudiyan Yaro Pe Gala Ke Nache De. It's quite a sick track. Like Garden MC's vocal was really good on it, and Sanjay made a really nice beat on it. Tru-Skool goes, I like this song. He goes, Tommy, you got good Punjabi, you got like good grasp of the language. Why don't you try and write a song like on this kind of vibe? And I just wrote a chorus there, and then he goes, yeah, that's a good idea. He goes, let's do it. He goes, get the whole song written. And then I wrote the whole song. and Ashok Prince. We showed it to him, and he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "That's sound." He goes, "Let's do it. I'll record it." And he recorded the song. So that sort of kind of started it off, really. That's.
So then that was quite fast, though. So he's asked you to write a chorus, and you think, all right, I've written him a chorus now. Then he goes, "Well, finish it off. Write the song." So you've written a song, and then you've got a proper singer, a real singer. You know, absolutely dynamite vocalist who's going to
mad vocalist.
Yeah, you know, this is not someone who's new, who's starting out.
No, not at all.
This is not like me and you working together. I'm a new singer, and you give me a song.
He's a thoroughbred, you know. He's like
exactly
a thoroughbred.
So he probably has a range of songs he could choose.
Absolutely, he did.
You know, so he's chosen your song. You must be getting excited a bit now.
Oh, absolutely, man. Like, I mean, I remember I'd be in the studio in Tru-Skool, be working on the songs, and he'll be producing. And if you've ever been in a studio with a producer, especially somebody as what would be the word? Somebody as somebody as meticulous as Tru-Skool. That's probably the right word to use. It's a very tiring process because he'll spend like 3 hours just working on like 2-second segment. And I'm like, I don't know what he's doing. And he's like, does that sound good? I'm like, yeah. 2 hours later, does that sound good? Yeah, it sounds good. He's like, oh, that's all right then. And then but then what he used to do is get through the song, and then he gets to the bit where it's got my name in it, and he'd like play it, and he'd turn around and look at me and be I used to feel proud, like, yo, man, like, that's my name in the song. Like, I've worked hard for it. And because I thought it was a big thing being a lyricist anyway. When Tru-Skool said to me, why don't you try writing a song? And I went, what? I can just write songs. You think, what? I'm a Jandu Litra and I'm a Dev Trika. And I look at those guys, they're legends. That's why they're songwriters. I goes, I can't become a writer. And he goes, you can do anything you want. Put your mind to it and you can do it.
Of course.
And of course, I subscribe to that ideology even more now. I mean, I read a lot of things. I read things like The Secret, and I read like The Law of Attraction and all those things. And you do think the right thoughts, you put in the right behaviors and right actions, and the right results happen 100%.
I think a positive attitude goes far. You know, so if you walk into a room and you meet new people, you've never met them before, positive attitude towards them. They could be arseholes, they could be a bit weird towards you, but if you're strong enough within yourself to have a positive attitude, you know, that works, I think, and people realize that. So they might speak about you and think, oh yeah, Dhami was all right, you know, he seemed like a good guy, he seemed straight up, you know, honest.
About 10 years ago they'd probably think I was obnoxious and rude and like quite outspoken and insensitive, but I'm not insensitive, but back then I never used to know how to articulate myself, and I'd be very abrupt and very terse with my language and the way I spoke. And a lot of people who've met me, they probably still think I'm the same person now. You know, they're like, oh, he's a hothead. He'll just swear or he'll just get aggressive. And I'm not like that anymore. I've changed massively.
So that's quite odd, saying, you know, you wasn't very articulate as a young person, being a lyricist.
When I say articulate, I mean in terms of articulate myself in expression, in terms of having a conversation. I might say something in jest, right? And it could hurt somebody's feeling, you know?
Was that kind of linked to your altercation with the
no I mean that kind of stuff, like when as Punjabi young hot-blooded males, right, and not just Punjabis, any community really, when you're young everybody thinks they're Rambo, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. And I've been there, man, twice.
Well, you know the score. Yeah, exactly. So Her Majesty obviously looks after you and gives you food and shelter, but you don't want that food and shelter, you know what I mean? Like, it's not. But I think as I've gotten older, as I've sat around more learned people, I've read lots more, read a lot of books and a lot of text and stuff like that. It sort of calms you and humbles you, and it makes you want to improve yourself. You know, before I would want to change the world, now I just want to change myself. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So you read The Secret, have you?
I've read it, yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't read The Secret.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you what I think The Secret is.
Go on.
And you tell me if I'm right. Obviously, you read it.
Go on.
So it's a secret within you. It's you. You are the power.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So.
Because if you look at that, right, it's not just a secret. I've got a friend, Ramneek Randawa. He's a Amritari Sikh. He spent 7 years with an English to Punjabi dictionary, and he translated Guru Granth Sahib Ji for himself. He didn't go to anybody. He did it all himself. You know, he went soul searching. And there's a shabd in Gurbani that says, Jo barmande soi pinde, jo khoje so pawe. which means loosely translated, it means roughly translated, it means whatever is contained within the expanse of the universe is contained within. And if you search, only the one who searches and seeks within finds the treasures of the universe. In the Bible, it says, as above, so below, which again refers to the same thing, that whatever's in heaven is in you. You are in heaven. You are heaven, kind of thing, basically. And the secret, again, it talks about that. Like, I mean, look, I said this to my friends, and they were like, that's a wicked way of thinking about it. I said, you know, like, we're created by God, you know, the creator of the universe, architect of the universe. And we are great because we are of him. And I think Christianity says that we're made in the image of God, right? And from you know, I've spoken to Christian friends and stuff like that, and they've told me that. And in any sort of culture, I guess it's the same thing, because God's created us, so we come from him, like a droplet of rain comes from the ocean. And I was like, well, if you come from God and he's the greatest, therefore by default we have to be great, and anything less than great, it's a smite on God, because what are we saying then? The greatest hasn't created greatness. That would be an error, and God doesn't make errors. You know what I mean? And sometimes you look at people and you think, wait, are you God's mistake?
Yeah.
I'm only joking.
But it's all right. No one's listening. So, but the point is, there's obviously a spiritual side to you, quite a deep spiritual side to you.
If I'm honest and critique myself, right, I'd say it's a superficial spiritual side. Like, I'm trying to scratch the surface rather than jumping into the deep end. And I do. I mean, Tru-Skool takes a mix sometimes. Like, bloody hell, you're like Greenpeace, you are, man. Be quiet with your Greenpeace stuff. Like, they call me Mother Teresa because, like, if there's a spider in the studio, they'll try and bash it and kill it. Whereas I'll go to the kitchen and get a glass and I'll scoop it up in the glass and then I'll take it outside and then release it. And they're like, look, this guy, it's like Greenpeace, but I've had the hell, look what he's doing. But I don't know, like,
why did you do that? What you just?
I feel they deserve life just as we do.
Yeah.
Imagine if somebody came and killed my brother or something just because he was in the room and I didn't want him in the room. You know what I mean? Like, I know spiders probably don't go to university and don't aspire to be lawyers and professors and doctors and footballers or songwriters, but they still want to live. When you try and hurt an animal, do you see them run? Or when you see people trying to hurt animals, you see them run and scream in pain, right? Because they don't want to die. So I think that's probably why I do that. But like I said, I mean, again, with Ramneekbhai, he said something to me very on this point when we talked about scratching the surface. He said, Dhami, like, you know, the question you're asking, you have to find the answers yourself. And I said, but I'd rather ask you. And he went, yeah. He goes, but if you're hungry, and I'm here sitting with a 3-course meal, and I'm like, well, this starter is fantastic. It's so crunchy and zingy, and it's got a kick to it. And then the paneer main is so tasty and chewy, and the paneer is just right, and it's got the right amount of nutrients and blah, blah, blah. And the gulab jamun is so sweet and succulent. It's firm yet tender. He said, I can describe the taste to you, but you can't satiate your hunger in that way. And he said, so if you want to learn about yourself, about your true self, and learn about self-development, you have to actually go and do the knowledge and do the work.
You got to put it in the work.
100%. And that's
something you're doing now. Is that what you want to carry on with, or is it?
Of course,
with the flow?
I'm not doing anything, but what I'm doing is I think I'm attracting it with my thoughts and with my. You know, you see what you want to see in life. I guess if you look at negativity in life and you look at everything is bad and everything's gloomy, then that's all you're going to see. And if you look at life as being beautiful and full of experiences like I do, then it just continues to amaze you. Then, you know, like materially, I'm not lacking anything, thanks to God and thanks to my parents. You know, we go back to when my parents were in Punjab, my dad's family, my tai huni, my pua huni in one house. There's 8 brothers and sisters. You know, like it was a very, in a lot of Punjabi households, you know, you can probably relate, and your parents will probably tell you the same stories, and so many other people can relate. And so God's been very benevolent in this fact that, you know, I've not got any worries about material needs and wants, food, shelter, clothing, everything is at hand. So naturally, it makes your mind freer to not worry about those things, so then you can worry about things that are even deeper and more complex, I guess.
So you live in life with an open mind, you know,
100%.
Rather than a closed sort of perception of how life is, because we don't know, do we? We don't know what's true or what's not. I used to be very adamant, you know, like an atheist, almost agnostic, saying, oh, no, can't be true. But I don't know, just as much as you don't know.
100%.
So we don't know. We keep an open mind, and
it's how you feel, though. You know, like what not just you. I'm on about like I feel God. Like when I say God, I don't mean a guy in the sky with a beard. I mean I just feel that energy of creation. In everything I see, like, you know, when you go out, like, I mean, I went to Lanzarote and I went to a volcano park, and when you come out the volcano park, you turn left and drive around for about half a mile, and there's like a dirt road. And something told me to drive down that dirt road, so I did. Drove down the dirt road, come to a clearing, and parked the car up, and I see a few of the cars parked. Started walking down, walked for about 20 minutes, and saw one or two people passing and stuff. After about half an hour, 40 minutes, there's nobody there. And then I noticed, I paused for a minute, and I noticed that I couldn't hear any sound. And I looked to the left and the right, and there was just like lava that had set from thousands of years ago when the volcanoes erupted. And in the distance, I could see the volcanoes. And then right in the distance, I could see the sun shining in the sky, and the sky and the ocean meeting, basically. And when I say I couldn't hear a sound, no crickets, no insects, no birds, not even wind. I couldn't even hear wind, right? And I thought, this is an accident. Look at this beauty. Like, you know, like it, I think Earth and creation in the universe is so vast and great. Right? It's not an accident. And like you said, we don't have the answers. I can't sit here and say, well, this is exactly what happened. I can say when I feel things like that, or when I see a beautiful sunset, man, it sounds Greenpeacey and airy-fairy, but you see a sunset, right? And you just look at it and think, wow, look at that, looks awesome. Like when the sun's just dipping. And yeah, man. Like,
I think if you go to certain places in the world, or you're in nature, and you're away from cities and you're away from a lot of other people, and it's just you, maybe some close friends, and you just look out. And the sea does that to me. If I look at the ocean early in the morning when there's not many people on the beach, it's kind of frightening, but it's kind of awe-inspiring as well, because you look at that expanse, and there's certain moments when you think there's got to be something controlling all this. You know?
Look at the ocean, the expanse. Like the word you use, expanse, is a great word. I mean, I think that the ocean is like, I think it's 2/3 of the Earth's space is the ocean, and I think the human body, the majority of the human body, is water. You know, inside. And a lot of people say that the universe and your human physical shape are a reflection of each other. The system inside reflects the outside. And in a sense, it makes sense, because when you talk about, when I mentioned the raindrop and the ocean thing, the raindrop will never be as mighty as the ocean, but without it, the ocean doesn't exist. In a sense, like, you know, and when it merges into the ocean, the raindrop becomes the ocean. Sorry, that's probably a better thing to think about. So when it comes to me and you, we're created by our parents. Even though me and you are individual human beings, without our parents, we could not have been here. And I think that's the same with God, you know, like it's I don't know, we've gone into a serious subject here, but yeah, this is where it's gone to.
That's cool, man. There is no subjects really on my show. We just go with the flow. And now it's interesting to see your sort of your beliefs and your spiritual side, because obviously some of that must influence your music or your writing. Did you, when you started, did you just want to sort of write love songs, or do the typical
just songs, man? like
the girl down the gully with the, and you know, or something?
No, you know what it was? It was just like, it just whatever came to me, kind of thing, right? I mean, like, there's a song called Malwa Dwabba on One Time for Your Mind, and Tru-Skool made a bad boy beat for it, and I composed the composition, and I composed like the way the lyrics go on it, and I wrote the lyrics. And I think at like 1:30 in the morning, one of my boys had been at my house. Sukraj, he's one of Tru-Skool's students as well. Phenomenal vocalist, but he wants to release only for himself. He doesn't want to release like as commercially. He just wants to do a song just for his own satisfaction. But phenomenal talent. And he was at my house and we were chilling out. And then he went home about 1:30. I just started writing this song and I completed it by about 2:00. I went to sleep. And it just came to me, kind of thing, if that makes sense. It wasn't like, oh, I want to write about this or write about that. But music, I feel, is just expression. And I feel it's just, in my opinion, it should be treated as art. Now, art can be thought-provoking, art can just be entertainment, art can be serious, art can be depressing, art can be humorous. But I think we have a problem in our society, as well as many other sort of Eastern societies, that we try and blame it for all the wrongs and ills in society, which is so, in my opinion, so shallow and narrow-minded. A lot of people refer to people like Sidhu Moosewala and Karan Aujla, and they say they're responsible for gangsterism in Canada and the West and India. But if you look at Canada, they had some of the worst gang violence in the 90s on a ridiculous scale. And songs that at that time were like Mar Shadappa and Dupatta Tera Sat Rangda, you know what I mean? And people getting smoked out there.
That one always rolls people up, you see, when you're going out for a drive-by. That's the one you're going to put on, right?
Right?
But yeah, exactly. That kind of violence has been going on for years. And Sidhu Moosewala was probably a young kid in India at the time.
Correct.
You know, so
correct.
I think it's an easy.
And he's a phenomenal talent, man. Like,
absolutely.
You know,
I mean, he literally did come out of nowhere and suddenly just, you know, we thought. I always think when I see someone new, all right, that good song, I like this song, might be a one-hit, two-song wonder, and then he'll disappear. You know, but he keeps coming back with more and more, and that sort of image of. I don't know, does he want to portray a gangster image? I don't know if he does. Maybe he does in his videos at times. But the point being, it's easy for people to then justify violence in a community by blaming someone. It's his fault.
Correct. Scapegoats, right?
Because it's easy. Because you can sort of deal with that.
Well, why don't we talk about the real issues in Punjabi society? So let's talk about alcoholism and how normalized it is. And let's talk about domestic violence, you know. Dad's beating mums up. Let's talk about things like you said, drugs, like, you know, even soft drugs like Feem and Dode and Jarda. Let's talk about inherent false machoism, about, you know, like pride in yourself and arrogance. And I think a lot of youngsters, like, you know, probably myself and yourself included in this as well, we've seen a lot of things we shouldn't have probably seen as kids. And that probably led to us to develop certain things in our heads and certain notions and ideas in our minds. So it wasn't no Moosewala that came in my head when I was younger, punching people in the face. You know what I mean? Like, so I think we as a community, and when I say we as a community, I mean humanity, because I remember reading an article years ago. Remember Kat Slater in EastEnders? Yeah. Somebody slapped her in the face because she's being rude to a mum in EastEnders. Somebody in real life like slapped the actress in the face. Right, they thought it's real. Yeah. They thought it was real. And then I'm thinking, well, this stupidity, it doesn't just stop at our community. It's just this human beings are.
There's definitely stupid people everywhere. Trust me. But it's interesting because, like I said, so when people try to blame certain artists, Punjabi artists, it's happened with rap as well, obviously, with NWA,
of course,
when they came along. So they think if we stop their music, let's turn their music off, we're not going to play it on the radio, we've solved the issue. But what happens then if violence continues? Then
look at it like this. The black community in America was subjugated for nearly 400 years. They were enslaved against their will. They were robbed of their culture, of their beliefs, of their ideologies, of their language, of their names, of their families. And they were brutalized. They were killed in front of each other. They were massacred. They were killed to make an example of. They'd cut women up and pull their babies out their stomachs to scare the other blacks so that they never, ever think of running away from plantations or trying to be free. After all that, right, after all that psychological torture and damage that they took for hundreds of years, when they got freedom, it wasn't really freedom. They then got pushed into ghettos with poor job prospects, very poor schooling, not good money around, alcohol and gun stores on every corner, which you don't find in posh areas. And they were sort of left to their own devices. And one of the rappers made a very good point, said, well, they call it the projects because that's what it is to them, a project. And that was what was the problem then? Was it NWA swearing in their songs that was a reason for young black males to react violently? Or was it actually the fact that they're getting beaten up by the police every single day they leave their house in a car, they're getting punched up by the cops and smacked and shot, which is still happening now? Of course.
I mean, they call it freedom, like you said, but it's controlled freedom.
Of course it is.
You know, so it's a bit like my children, you know, I let them do kind of what they want, but it's controlled, you know, so really they haven't got freedom like maybe me and you have here. We can do kind of what we like, but so I this is always interesting why when an artist is blamed for the ills of the world, you know, it's a bit like hooligans for football hooligans.
Correct.
Football's blamed. But you know, people need to take responsibility themselves
for their own actions. That's right. I mean, and for socio-economic conditions that cause that as well. I mean, of course, every human being is liable for their own actions, but there are certain things that play into a person's psyche and a person's mindset. If you continuously tell, like, say, we talked about Black Americans. If you keep telling a Black person that he will never grow, hence the term they use to describe them, that you tell them that they're not clever, you tell them that they're violent and they're criminals, and you keep shooting them, sooner or later you're going to buy into the rhetoric and think, well, if you think I'm a robber or you think I'm a killer anyway, why don't I just show you that?
I'm going to show you one.
Yeah, like as a kid, when I was naughty, everyone would be like, "Eh, bahut alta karda, eh, larda renda, sare niyane nu katta renda." After a while, I thought, you know what, fuck this, man. If you don't think that's me, then let me show you that is me then. You know, like you sort of buy into that. And Punjab, for example, has a lot bigger issues than Punjabi songs. I mean, you've got the Chief Minister of Punjab protesting to the central government saying we need to open the TK again because the revenue in Punjab has dropped by so much. If grocery stores are allowed to be open, why can't alcohol stores be open? Yeah. He's lobbying the government for that. Yeah. Now, is that a bigger problem for the community of Punjab?
In the midst of a global pandemic, which will literally kill people, but you want to open up alcohol shops, you know, it's ridiculous.
See, I did a song just recently called Motra Mitradi with Amanyar and Just Music, and it's about alcohol, right? I don't drink alcohol. I wrote a song as a fun song. I've danced to alcohol songs before at weddings. I don't need to drink. And people say, oh, I'm like, what? So, I mean, how many songs are there in the English market that talk about alcohol? In the mainstream pop market, I don't think there's one I can remember. How come the culture is so prevalent there then for alcohol? You can't blame that on songs.
No.
So inherently, as a Punjabi community, we've got so many issues and problems within that need to be addressed before we can even try and censor music. I mean, what is that? What is
there is a big issue with alcohol, definitely. If you look at most of our functions and weddings, it's so predominant. You know, it's everywhere.
Correct.
You know, and we've got this. I can't, you know, I don't want to generalize. Not everyone, but we've got this binge drinking culture.
100%.
You know, glassila, knock it back. You know, it's that. I don't know where that mentality sort of comes from. You know,
and if you don't drink, they look at you gone out like tu pinda nahi, tu gadda banda hai. And I'm thinking, what do you mean? So I'm here enjoying a nice fruit juice. I'm going to go with my boys and tear up the dance floor and do a lot of Bhangra, have a good time. I'm going to get in my car and go home safely and go to sleep and wake up in the morning and do what I need to do. Whereas you're going to have to be dragged out of here by your family because you're too drunk and don't want to leave. Then you're going to try and drive home drunk and probably kill yourself or somebody else. And then you're going to lie in the next day nursing a hangover. I'm not judging anybody. If somebody but what I'm saying is that
I've been on the other side. I don't drink myself, but I've been on the other side. Some of them examples you gave, I've done. So I definitely don't judge anyone, but I know definitely there is an issue, an undercurrent of this issue within the community. It's never really addressed.
Go on, what do you think it is? What's your thoughts on it?
I think probably people my age, I'm in my 40s, I'm 44 now. So I think maybe my generation, we were kind of the second generation. So our parents had to work hard. They kind of had a focus, you know, and educate us to get a good job. And we was kind of almost spoiled in a way. We kind of had it slightly easier.
Left to your own devices, basically.
Yeah, we had a bit of money. Our parents, you know, secured us. So we had a house. You know, we didn't have to work hard for anything as much as, say, them. I don't know. But obviously there was an issue in the first generation, like my dad's sort of generation as well, I don't really know where it comes from. Where's this?
It's deeper than that, you know. Like I think in Punjab, like a lot of people were into agriculture because they were from a Jatt background, so they had like fields and land and stuff like that. And I don't want to talk about caste, but in terms of Jimindar Bande who have Jameen, they're Jatt basically, a majority of them, and they used to do a lot of hard work. And then when they'd get harvest, then they'd probably have a session, you know, have a few drinks here and there. And I think it snowballed from there. And then in England, what happened was when they came here, they were working in the foundries and the factories, and they'd be working 12, 14, 16 hours a day. And then in the evening, they'd want a nightcap so they could knock out. And I think it became like an addiction, whereas a lot of Punjabi, so what that means is a lot of Punjabi elders couldn't really function without having alcohol. But then the problem is, I've seen it in my own family, like people putting beer cans to my nephew's mouths when they're like 2 or 3 years old. And it infuriates me because I'm like, you know, this is what you're normalizing this, you know. Our community, the Punjabi Sikh community, we're looked at as piss heads. And let's be really honest about it, by not just by Gore, but by, I've got friends who are from a Pakistani background. They're like, oh, you lot love drinking, don't you? I'm like, no, my family don't drink. And they're like, oh, and then I had to explain and educate them. They're like, oh, sorry, man, I didn't realize all the Sikhs that I know, their families all drink. And I'm like, yeah, they do. Their families do, but it's not a Sikh thing, and it's an individual thing. But look at the stamp that you've got there. That's not really a proud thing. I mean, Punjabis could be known for being hardworking and for being generous and you know, like charitable and things like that, rather than being known for being the biggest drinkers.
I got a friend, Patrick. He's Irish, and
they got the same problem as us.
Yeah. So when I first met him, he goes, oh, you know, he asked me, I'm a Pakistani. I said, no, I'm Punjabi, Sikh. He goes, oh, I've got a Sikh friend. He goes, I'd like a drink, like a whiskey, don't they? That's the first thing he said to me. And so in bed, I go, you can talk, you're Irish. He goes, yeah, but we get on. We're very similar. And maybe they were very similar. They were working on construction sites and motorways and working together. And kind of
the Irish had the same struggle as the Punjabis because of the British occupation.
Yeah, working for the man. So when they got here,
no, not even that, more than that. I mean, I don't know if you know about the history of colonization, but obviously, India was obviously a colony of England, and England had ruled it with an iron fist. But the same situation was happening in Ireland at the same time. Yeah. And when Jallianwala Bagh happened, you know, when they massacred innocent Sikhs in Amritsar, the British government did for protesting against a draconian law. When Udham Singh, he's one of my idols, he was there and he saw it and he fell between the dead, and like he survived though. And then he went to Harmandir Sahib. He swore to God, he said, I'm going to kill the person responsible for this. And that's my mission in life. And he did. He killed Michael Adwyer. But at the same time, Irish had something called Bloody Sunday, where the British opened fire. The British Army opened fire on Irish protesters for protesting peacefully, and shot them dead in cold blood. So there's a synonymous thing that both the Irish people and the Punjabis have experienced, struggling for independence, struggling for freedom. If you remember the Udham Singh film with Raj Babbar, his girlfriend was Irene, Irish woman.
Yeah, that's right.
A ginger Irish woman. I mean, I think that's a stereotype, to be honest with you, in the film, but that's what they're trying to portray.
Yeah.
And I think there's certain similarities that they can obviously, you know, draw on. But then alcohol being one of them is a sad thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's I don't know. I don't have the answers to that. We may need a social psychologist or someone who knows why there's a certain prevalence. I mean, it's in a lot of cultures, though. You know, the Polish like a drink as well. You know, it's around everywhere, and it's a worldwide thing, and it's freely available. You can go down the supermarket and pick it up. You know, so
I mean, darunu look in shiny garde. You know, like they talk about drugs like like they're really bad, which they are. But I know people who intake cannabis, and they're the chillest, most coolest people in the world. You know, they're the most grounded and the most kindest and just blessed people. And then other people will judge them for consuming cannabis or marijuana.
Well,
Since I
stopped drinking, I rather hang around someone who's stoned,
than
some drunk people.
Absolutely,
I have no tolerance for drunk people, which is hypocritical of me. Trust me.
So frustrating. So, like, I mean, I used to hang around with my friends, and I never used to drink. And for some reason, I wasted years of my life, like with a few friends who would drink excessively and then act like fools. And I didn't realize till later on that you could just say, no, I'm not coming out with you. when you're young, like you don't realize, you just think, oh, it's all right, I'll just carry on. But again, it's not to judge anybody. I mean, if anybody, God bless, if anybody listening to this is struggling from alcoholism or struggling without even knowing it, you might have a problem with alcohol, you might not even realize it, or substances. Please try and get help, man, because you're destroying yourself and you're destroying your family. Like you know, any addiction of any kind, it's bad. But because it's so normalized in Punjabi culture, no one will even see it as a problem because it's actually, they'll probably tell me and Sat to go for therapy instead because we don't drink, so we can get back on the right path.
I mean, when I tell people when I'm at weddings and that, it's like, oh, you don't, they're so shocked. And I was thinking it could be the only drug in the world where you say, you know what, no, I don't take that. And people are shocked about it, you know.
Exactly right.
I mean, if you walked into a crack den and said, you know what, don't really feel like doing crack today, you know. But most people would understand, wouldn't they? You wouldn't want to have, but with alcohol, it's very different, you know. People don't seem to understand it. But it's interesting, when we're talking about alcohol, your latest song is about alcohol. Did you have any second thoughts about writing alcohol, or do you just write it?
I did before a few years ago. I did. I was like, in my head, I was like, I don't really want to write songs about alcohol, because I bought into the whole your songs influence people and blah 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 blah. And then I looked around and I started looking into patterns of people that I knew and people that I didn't know, and just understanding our societies. And I thought, a song is a song. If I'm writing a song about alcohol, for me it could be a cup of tea or it could be a milkshake. Like my mates laugh, you know, like if we go to a bar somewhere, they'll order drinks and I'll be like, I can have a hot chocolate. And they're like, what, you want a hot chocolate? I'm like, yeah, because that's what I want. It tastes good, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I wrote that song and a lot of people have given it love, you know, a lot of people really looked forward to it for a number of years. And when it came out, they've been enjoying it. But I just thought, you know what? It's a song. It's entertainment. It means different things to different people. Now, if you talk about Hiranja, Mirza Saba and all these kind of things, people relate them depending on what kind of person you are. Some people relate them to love, like a physical relationship between a man and a woman. A spiritual person relates that to a relationship between a man and God. You know, his love being God and his struggles during that journey being his struggle to attain salvation. So it's all about your perspective and how you approach. I mean, of course, a song about alcohol will be a song about alcohol, but again, you can still find positive in something that you perceive as negative.
I mean, I've listened to many songs with alcohol. I've listened to your latest one. I've not gone out and had a drink, so don't worry. Yeah.
Thank God. Yes.
Yeah. So
you know what? Maybe I should have done a contract. You know, I mentioned a Black Label in the song. Maybe I should have contacted Johnny Walker and said, well, your sales are going to spike up. I want to cut. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Classic Black Label. I think my dad used to drink that.
My master loves that, man.
They love the nasty ones, didn't they? Bells.
I don't know, like, I mean, again, I'm not an expert in it because I don't indulge in it, so I don't know too much about it. I just remember my friends used to drink Bacardi and Smirnoff back in the day.
I used to be an expert, trust me. Bacardi and Coke was one. Bacardi and Lilt. Bacardi, Bacardi and Dr. Pepper.
Anyway. Lilt and Dr. Pepper on their own are awesome anyways.
Exactly. You don't need to be putting Bacardi
No, not at all.
So, talking about your latest song with Amarjit, he's what a fantastic vocalist, a young guy. It seems like a lot of these young guys are heavily influenced, as far as I can tell, by the greats, you know, like Mann, the folk singers, you know, Mann, Shinda, Jamkila. They've all got that sort of style to them, you know, even JK as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Proper dead Panjabi folk singers.
Puri.
Yeah. So, what do you think that is? Is it because they're so, you know, the legends were so good and it's hard not
so to good? I mean, if you look at the caliber of those vocalists, if you look at Kuldeep Manak, Surinder Shanda, Sarjeet Bandrakhiya, Jamkila, Gurdas Mann, Manmohan Vars, you look at singers like that, and Dilshad Akhtar and Kuldeep Parson, any of these singers, you listen to their vocals, you listen to their range in their voice and the technicality of their singing and the power and everything like that. it's levels above what's happening right now. No offense to any singers. There are some really, really good singers out there, but if they are really, really good, then they're probably inspired by the greats. And then a lot of the singers are, just to a decent standard. But then in the UK, you had Balwinder Safri and Deepa Satrang and Meshi Ishara. Then later on, you had singers like Dalwinder Jawar, Gurpej, Brad. These kind of voices are stellar vocalists. Ashok Prince, they're proper singers. They're not just, mumble singers, like how hip hop has an epidemic with mumble rap.
Mumble rap,
I think we've got an epidemic with mumble singing, I guess, in one way. And some people might look at what we do under this kind of music and say, well, you lot don't get as many views as the other guys, or you guys aren't as popular. Number one, I mean, we've never bought views. And that's something that needs to be clearly addressed, because you can buy millions of views for YouTube and it'll be added to your channel. Now YouTube won't pay you. A few years ago, YouTube was actually still paying them for advertisements, so people are able to make bigger budget videos to look even bigger than they were, and then buy fake views for that video. And what happened was, you fake it till you make it. So you got 2 million fake views. Somebody would watch that video. Even I used to look like, wow, they got 2 million views, man, that's wicked. And then you intrinsically will watch that video, and you'll watch other videos that have got 5 million and 6 million views, but you don't realize that they're all fake. But then by this time, you and many others have already bought into that fake hype and watch these songs. We've never done that. We've just been about the music. I mean, JK's views on his YouTube are modest. They're good. They're not astronomical like most of these guys. JK has been in this game now for about 10 years. He's had one album. He's the most booked artist in the whole of the UK over the last decade. Why is that? Is it because of fake views, or is it because of his talent and his performance? And I think that stuff matters. But right now, I mean, it's like, it's not a moaning thing. I'm just saying that if people want to buy views, they can. I get messages all the time on Instagram, sir, increase volume of followers by 10,000 lakhs and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I goes, Lord, I've got 2,500, 3,000 on my Instagram, about 5,000 on my Facebook, and about 3,000 on my Twitter. It's growing organically. I'm not paying for it because it's false. If I'm going to go out there and get bot accounts, then it doesn't make any sense.
It's really not worth it. But it's a kind of the way in which we live now. We're kind of basing our value in life on the number of likes we get. So if you're making something or creating something, and you're basing the success of that on how many likes and shares you got, I think that's a fucked up reason to do it, because you're never going to get far with that way, because as soon as you do create something that you don't get many likes in, because your whole value within yourself is based on likes and shares, and it doesn't work and people don't like it, you're going to be despondent and give up.
And I think in addition to that, I mean, you can have 5 million views, but then how come a lot of these singers don't get booked for shows? No one books them for weddings. No one books them for midday. No one books them for X, Y, and Z.
On my previous podcast, I used to get the same kind of emails in a different way from India, and they would say, we'll get you 10,000 downloads a show. Right? And there's no reason for me to have that. Why do I want to? What for? Why do I want 10,000 downloads? Is that to then show people, look, I've got 10,000 downloads? It never.
How many downloads do you get, by the way?
It never interested me. For this show, it's just started, mate. You're the second person on. So
okay. What about your old one then?
My old one, I was on within the third month. It was 35,000 by my first. Yeah, by my first year. So
that's awesome.
From a show on my own, created on a dining room table, it done pretty well, so
that's sick. That's really good, man. I mean, look, 35,000, is that unique people downloading the podcast?
Yeah. So
that's amazing, man. Like that's 35,000 real human beings with real lives. That's massive.
Yeah, so exactly. So I thought, I don't want to pay for this. I want to see it for my own hard work. And there's a time when I started where it was all about checking my stats every day. How many people listen? And you drive yourself insane, because you put a new show out and it probably didn't do as good as the last show. And then you think, what have I done? Then you try and get another person who might put your downloads up higher. and it's a vicious cycle. And really, what you forget then is the quality of the show, and to have an interaction with someone like me and you are having one-to-one.
Absolutely.
And that's all you want. People like.
Have you heard our song Prince Set It Off?
No.
It came out about a month ago. Tru-Skool produced the music, so UK producer. Prince, UK vocalist, one of Tru-Skool's students, and I actually wrote the lyrics and I performed the rap on the song as well. That was all of us. Prince is from Nottingham. I'm not sure Prince is another Prince from Nottingham.
I have heard it because when you put that on your Facebook, you said, how do you find my rapping to people?
That's right.
And there's some people still on there were saying, yeah, it's good. Who's a rapper? And I think you've just told them I've rapped on this. Did they not say that? And you were saying,
there was one or two people saying, "Yo, who's that rapper? Is it a sample?"
Yeah.
And I was like,
and I think you spent most of your time explaining to them, "No, it's me." But
But like what we're saying with that song, like that was a UK song. So Tru-Skool's from Derby, I'm from Leicester, and Prince is from Nottingham. It's like an unholy trinity, right? And we put that song out ourselves on Check One Records, which is our own imprint. Tru-Skool spearheaded that. We didn't pay for promotion. We didn't pay for anything. I think we're sitting on about 17,000 views on the YouTube video, which even if, let's say, half of those people watched it twice, that's nearly 10,000 real human beings who've watched our video.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
And then we looked at only recently we looked at Apple Music streaming and SoundCloud, and we got 20, 30,000 on that as well. And other people would look and think, oh, wow, they've not got millions like so-and-so. But we know that those people that we've got those figures, we've got are real people. And the comments, I mean, usually when you look at a YouTube video, there's so many people swearing at people in the comments and hating the artists. Touch wood, we've not had one negative comment on the video, and that's not because we've been deleting it. No one's had anything bad to say about it when they've heard it, or they can't be bothered maybe. But the truth is, we did that with blood, sweat, and tears, and we do music for that reason because we love it. All of us love it. I love music so much, listening to it and then being able to create music. That's just a massive blessing because I used to listen to all my dad's tapes, and then I used to make my own mixtapes. Like everybody, not just me, everybody would. You'd get a tape and record over your favorite songs onto a tape and have 10 of your favorite songs on a tape. And for me then to get involved in music and be around people who are extremely talented, vocalists, producers, lyricists, actors, singers, whatever. And then to be able to work with them on a professional level in a studio, that's like a dream come true. And I don't take that lightly. So what I do is I put 110% in, not for the likes or the applause and the plaudits, but because I'm just look, man, I'm here. I'm in the studio with so-and-so. I did a song for Gerd Sidhu that not many people probably heard, but it's called Hansla. And the music was done by Atal Sharma. Now, if anybody knows their music, he's Bhangra Kia's his Bhangra Kia's producer.
Yeah.
And then he's Harjeet Harman's music man. And I had a song that I wrote and he produced the music for. I mean, so it wasn't about numbers. That was just I can't believe the legend has produced
something
that I've written. Then I did the song Belly Tape with G Sidhu from America. G Sidhu's a phenomenal singer, songwriter. He writes his own songs. He asked me to write him a song. He commissioned me and he paid me to write him a song. And that for me was amazing because he's a songwriter himself. He's written all his own work and he's written for Mankirat Ork, but he asked me to write him a song. So,
do you think he wanted something from you? Something maybe a young, fresh vibe, UK vibe, or what? Did he say why?
Yeah, how it happened was, remember, I mean, if you remember, you might not, there's a song called 365 with Gerd Sidhu that I wrote. It was quite popular in Punjab. So when I went to Punjab, I spoke to a lot of my friends and family and they all knew the song, and I asked them, what the response was, and said it was really, really good at the time when it came out. And G Sidhu made a video on Instagram and he tagged me engaged in it, but I didn't actually know who he was. Honestly speaking, I wasn't following him at the time. Then I went on the page just to see who this person was that had made a video, and I was like, he's a singer, so I started following him, and then I messaged him and said, thanks for sharing our song, I really appreciate that. And he goes, no problem, and he goes, let's do something together, and literally we just connected. We get on really, really well, like a really nice guy, a very talented guy, and I'm going to write more songs for him, even though, again, like I said, he's a fantastic writer himself. But I guess he just appreciated what I was doing, and he felt that it would add something. I mean, the song Belly Dip was really appreciated. It was something I wrote which nearly anybody in any field can relate to, about a struggle to get someone. So this one was about singing in particular, and it was about how his family were telling him, look, don't do it, study, which you probably know about. Everybody knows about that one. Yeah. It was about, like, how everybody stopped him. Companies weren't really checking for him. And then he goes to me, Dhami, you wrote my life story. He goes, how did you know this? I goes, I didn't. I just felt that this is the story of every artist. And he sang it, made a video, and props to G Sidhu. Even asked me to get in the video, man. He said, make sure you record something from the UK and send it so we can add it to the video, which was nice,
So you're working with these great artists, fantastic singers. Is there any artist that you haven't worked with or you would love to work with? Someone... I mean, there's probably a lot, I know, but if there's I'm not talking about legends. I'm talking about someone fairly new,
right now.
Right now, that you would love to write. Maybe we could hook it up, mate. From Gravesend.
The heart of Bhangra, as you said.
Heartbeat of Bhangra, mate.
I've been blessed, right, in this sense that again, like Jazzy B obviously worked with Tru-Skool. And Jazzy B is a bad man. Everybody knows he's one of the best to ever do it, and he's done it continuously for years, right? And he actually recorded a chorus of a song that I wrote in the studio with Tru-Skool. Then he recorded a whole vocal of a song that I wrote with Tru-Skool, a whole song. For some reason, those songs didn't progress. But, I do want to see Jazzy B sing one of my songs, like that'd be amazing to have that under my belt, amazing singer I looked up to as a kid, still look up to now. I really like Sidhu Moosewala and what he's doing. And a few years ago, about a year and a half ago, he got into really bad controversy. I actually wrote a song from his perspective. I actually wrote a song from his perspective, but he doesn't sing anybody else's songs. But, I'm sure if I'd have shown him that song at the time, even if he didn't sing it, he would have felt it and he would have said, you know what, you just wrote what? Because it was about him getting blamed for everything going on in like India and Canada and stuff like that. And
in the world. Said, well, he was getting blamed for literally everything.
He's getting blamed for the bloody ice caps melting and stuff like
COVID-19.
that. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, Jazzy B,
Jazzy B's fantastic. I mean,
bad boy.
He's just the epitome of a Panjabi artist, isn't he?
Bad boy.
He's just got a great voice. He's got that fantastic image, and he's one of my favorites. And you know what? Obviously, speaking to you now, I know you. I'd love to hear him sing one of your songs. I'll be happy.
Thanks, man.
Honestly.
I respect. I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, Tru-Skool had a live Instagram live last week with some guy called Slams from America. He's a DJ, and in the interview, actually mentioned about this Jazzy B song, and he goes, because I kept saying, well, why don't you play it? Like, I was in the live watching it, I goes, play it so people can hear it. And he goes, no, I'm not going to play it. He goes, what I'll do one better. Because Dhami wrote it, and Jazzy said he doesn't want to do it right now. But JK is going to sing it. And he goes, if you lot can message Jazzy, and if you want Jazzy and JK to do it together with me on the production, he goes, let's see if it can happen. You know what I mean? And if that happens, that'll be like 2 Christmases in one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, in one, exactly. Would that be a fantastic song, though?
It is. I mean, I'm not saying it in a big in myself way. Like, I came up with a concept for a song, and Tru-Skool and me sort of wrote that together, because I'm not going to talk about what it's about, but he sort of gave me sort of a framework of what kind of things to cover, what kind of subjects to cover, what kind of things to include. But then I put it together, man, and it just came out. In my opinion, it came out just like flame grilled. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I hope it does come out. But sometimes I know songs can kind of fade away, can't they? They can get stuck on a hard drive somewhere and
correct,
never to be seen.
Diljit Dosanjh as well. I mean, I'm very close with Diljit Bhaji, and he's already said that, you know, we'll do one, and he's very meticulous about what he demands as well. He wants me to be on point, like when I give him something, and he wants it to be fire. So, but then if that came out, that would be,
he's a top artist, so he's going to want the best, and he's a top artist.
That would be the Tru-Skool and Dhami Amarjit, you know, when that happens, and it will happen. You know, I have no doubt. You know, I've got so much done already in the last few years, and oh my God, so if I was to tell you, man, like with Check on Records, I've done about 20-25 tracks with some of the baddest unknown talent that you'll hear, some of the best producers and best singers that you'll hear. I mean, if anybody watching this is interested, we've got a page at Check One Records with a Z on Instagram. Follow Tru-Skool's page on Facebook, because that's always updated with the announcements as well. But we've got a stable of some of the best talent worldwide, vocally and musically. And I've been blessed to be providing the lyrical content for it, you know. And fantastic. It's going to be like a slew of releases. And we made it with love again. It's come with love, and you know, when you hear the songs, you feel the energy is so good. So we're just... you would have had that in the planning. Check One Records would have been 2019, probably even before that, and then 2020 you was trying to push it out, and then we all got busted with this COVID-19. Yes. Yeah. So I mean, I have a lot of friends in business as well. They're struggling. You know, their shops are shut, and So, but in a musical sense, or an artist sense, you've got Check One Records. You're all pumped. You guys are doing videos, and you think this is it now. 2020 is our year. Like a lot of people with a lot of projects. COVID comes and slows everybody's life. I do photography as well. I had an exhibition this year, Vasaki, gone. You know, that's to the side now. So I was for a week or so. I was just thought I was gutted, you know. I thought a lot of hard work went into this, and it's just gone. But how you sort of handling COVID-19? Do you know when it's going to end? When can we? Let me just look at my crystal ball. What happened was we were ready with another song. Like, it would have come out like 2 weeks ago, and then we put a stop to it because we thought, well, with the COVID situation, like. Exactly, it's not really going to get the response that it should get, because people are locked away at home. No one's out there with their friends enjoying music or going commuting and stuff like that. But then what we've done instead is we've started working on music behind the scenes. We just said, well, fine, no problem at all. If COVID stopped releases, doesn't mean we can't be productive. So we've been working hard, and it's weird though. Like, you know, all this stuff's coming together. So like I've had an interview with KTV over like a Zoom chat last week and a half ago. I had an interview with Najwani, which is a Sikh website. They wanted to ask me about writing. Punjabi Hit Squad featured me on the britishasian network Saturday Night Takeover. Yeah, I like Hit Squad. Shout out to the Hit Squad. Shout out to Hit Squad, man. They're good guys, man. And then you contacted me to say, look, right, after the last 7 years of me saying to you, I'm going to get you on the podcast. How's you going to get you on the podcast? And there's so going, yeah, same here. Where's a wanker? He never called. He's a wanker. Yeah, you know what? I wanted you on, and I was in two minds whether to get the British Asian podcast back up and running, but I wanted something new, something a bit more free flowing. And you're here now, man. Come on. That's good. I hope you're not bored of me. Like, you're thinking, oh God, what did I get him on for? You know what? I've got no clock on me. Got my phone's over there. I don't know what the time is. I'm just chatting, mate, and I'm enjoying it. Good. That's the main thing, you know. Like with life, you got to enjoy it, man. Like, it's the main thing. Like in anything, like anyone listening to this, if you're not enjoying what you do in life, you've got to change. You've got to make a change physically and mentally. Exactly. And, you know, that's what I feel. You know, like when I was younger, right, people would be like, "Hey, job change karta rehda, kade tech da nahi 6 mahine baad navi job lenda." But I'm like, look, if you want to be miserable in your job for the last 15, 20 years, you can't put that on me. You know, I'm not going to stick at something I don't enjoy. So like the music for me, it's such a passion, right? And even though I do get paid for it, but it's so much of a passion. I don't even worry about the money. I don't do it for the money. So that's why I can enjoy it even more. I'm just focusing on creating art. That's the dream, right? To do music, exactly. To get paid. And that's a dream. Really. Don't they say, like, enjoy what you do and never work another day in your life? Absolutely, yeah. Because what you do, you probably don't see as work, do you? If you're staying up till 1:30, 2 in the morning writing a song. Did I tell you that? Huh? Did I tell you that?
What's that? That you was writing songs?
My schedule. Yeah, my schedule.
You didn't tell me, but you told me they wrote that other song. You remember? 1:30 in when your friend left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's journalistic. That is. You picked up on something.
I have been listening to you.
Yeah. I mean, because my routine is this: like 9 to 5, I work as well. I have a full-time job as well. Then after 5 till about 10 o'clock, 10:30, I'm spending time at home, eating, watching TV with the family or whatever. And then in the evenings, from like 10:30, 11 till about 1:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, I write songs and I practice my music. I practice my vocals as well. And
in the morning,
repeat.
Early in the morning.
Yeah, and I go sleep at like 2 o'clock, and then I wake up about 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I repeat. That's my cycle.
So you find more inspiration that in the evening, or is that just kind of how you're?
I'm just a lazy bastard. That's why.
Yeah.
So when I say lazy bastard, I mean like I don't like waking up early in the morning. I like to just wake up. To be honest, I should do it the other way around. To be honest, sleep earlier and wake up earlier. That's what a lot of intelligent and creative minds do.
I'm an early riser. I'm not saying I'm a creative, intelligent person, but I am an early. I've got kids, right? So I have to get up early.
Yeah, you don't have a choice though.
No, so I get up early to train because I like training, and I do it before the kids get up. Otherwise, it gets pushed to the side, you see. So, but I like to get my work done in the morning, and I like to chill in the evenings and chat.
See, mentally, that's meant to be really good for you because when you get your work done in the morning when everyone else is sleeping, you feel you can tick it off. Like, say for example, if I go somewhere in the evening, in the back of my head, it's always like I need to get back and practice as well. I need to do my this, I need to do that. Whereas if you do it in the morning, it's done.
You're done. You can.
And then you wake up in the morning again. You go sleep and you wake up in the morning and you carry on.
But I think the most important thing, people can get hung up on this, getting up early, or I think as long as you turn up and do the work.
Oh yeah.
As long as you're turning up at 1:30, 1 o'clock in the morning and writing and doing your music, that's better than nothing, mate.
Yeah, it's awesome. Sometimes what will happen is like, I'll write a song and I'll send it to like a Canadian or an Australian singer or whatever. Like, and in the morning they've already made a voice clip of what I've sent. You know what I mean? And that's an amazing feeling, hearing a bad boy voice on your work, right? Because then you can get, then you send it to the producers and they start making the beats, and that the process has started. So yeah, man, it's like.
There's a different way of working these days, isn't there? So I know with Amarjit, you said most of it was done by WhatsApp.
All of it was done by WhatsApp.
Yeah, which is crazy. So
all of it was done by WhatsApp.
Instead of sending these dirty memes around, you can make music.
Exactly. Instead of sending people WhatsApp videos of embarrassing moments, like just make things that will make moments in people's lives. Like
I delete any messages I get like that. I do delete.
Do you know with the Amarjit song, like when he put that video clip up of him like singing, recording the vocal, that vocal you hear on the clip, right, was actually his WhatsApp vocal. He recorded it on WhatsApp without a click. He just sort of kept the tempo in his head. Then that was sent to Just Music. They extracted that from WhatsApp and they put it on their production. Yeah, 100%.
And that's so his vocals on there are from.
So no, not the final vocal, but on that clip, the final vocal. Then we made him obviously go into the studio and record it. But like the one in the clip, if you see the clip of him in the studio and he's singing to the mic, that audio is actually his WhatsApp vocal, and that's how things work. I remember Tru-Skool did that with Diljit, actually, with one of his songs. It never came out, but Diljit sang it, and I think he sang it without a beat, so he just sang it rough, like without any timing to it. And Tru-Skool actually chopped it up and stuff and put it onto a beat, and it sounded awesome. And then obviously he called him in to do the vocal later, but the technology we have available to us now is just awesome, so that's the...
Yeah, I think people should use it. People, if they want to make music, I don't think they should be waiting around for someone to say... Man. I mean, in the past, there used to be gatekeepers, so you had to get signed by someone, and
yeah, that's right.
Buy a record label to make a video. But these days, you can do it all yourself. I think all you need is some creativity. You could literally make a video on your phone, right?
See, that's the thing. I mean, people can make things themselves. I mean, the great thing about what we're doing at Check One is like we're putting together a pool of talent. So, singers don't have to pay for music or lyrics. Producers don't have to pay for production or, vocals or lyrics, because we've got our own team of artists in-house. We're working together. So we're creating that. A lot of people out there are working independently, but they don't have a team or network of resources available and pool of resources available. So sadly, that's the case for a lot of people out there. But we're blessed to have that Tru-Skool put that together for us. Because he struggled himself like throughout life when he started music. He never had a network of people around him to make it all himself.
Potentially why he has one now with you guys. So he knew how he started and how hard it was. So maybe he's nurturing this team because he knows the difficulties, and we'll have to obviously ask him one day himself. But
man, he'd love to be on this. I'm sure.
Yeah,
he'd enjoy it.
We'll get you both on. We can get we can get that Jazzy B song out.
Yeah, man, that'd be awesome, man. That'd be awesome. Like, honestly, I love that song. Like,
honestly, I'm not lying. I would love to hear that song, and I say,
just when you speak to him, just say to him,
just
speak to him, say like, contact Tru-Skool, man, make it happen, and
that'd be fantastic.
It will be.
So for yourself, I don't know how long we've been talking for, but
we've been talking for now 1 hour and 22 minutes.
It's not bad, is it? It's pretty
gone quick, hasn't it?
It's gone well quick, mate, because we've talked about some deep subjects. We've talked about some legends, but for you personally, where do you see yourself? It's a bit of a lazy journalistic question. Where do you see you in 5 years' time? Do you still making music? I did 100%. I did hear somewhere that you wanted to start singing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, I'm a student of Tru-Skool, so I've been learning vocals and harmonium for a number of years. Putting a lot of hard work on that side as well. So yeah, you'll definitely be hearing my vocals very, very soon. No doubt. Singer-songwriter Dhami Amarjit,
that'd be fantastic. Your own songs, your own vocals, music by Tru-Skool.
Tru-Skool. I hope so, man. Tru-Skool. We're getting music off Tru-Skool is very hard, man. Ask anyone. Ask any singer out there. Ask some of the biggest singers out there. It's nearly impossible.
He doesn't work with many people. Music.
He doesn't. He says he says no to everyone. Like, and not because he's rude or because he thinks he's better than. He's very particular about who he works with. But we were sitting together, me, Tru-Skool, and Diljit, about 4 or 5 months ago, and Diljit said to me, "Dhami, tu jadon gaun lag piya, dekhi tenu music ne bahut kuch dena." Then I goes, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Tu music nu pyar bahut karda hai, ta tenu music ne bahut kuch dena." He goes, "Tu hit hona hai." And I'm like, "Why did you say that for?" He goes, "Because you love music unconditionally." Because you never put conditions on it. You never thought, "I'm going to do it for X, Y, and Z reason," and I didn't. And he goes, and then Tru-Skool, like there's other singers I've got in my students and stuff. And he goes, "Yeah, but watch, Dhami's he's gonna kill it. He's gonna blow up." And it gave me a lot of confidence, and it made me feel, fortunate that I never did any of these things for any of these reasons, but the road just keeps unwinding, and I just keep following the road, and it just keeps taking me to where I need to go, kind of thing. So in a few years,
who knows? It could be destiny. Like we said, we don't know who's running the show here. I think we've worked that one out in this conversation. It could be destiny, and that's where you're headed to. I look forward to hearing you sing. In regards to all this, I've got to ask earlier, you mentioned your family slightly. What do your family think of all this in music? And are they doing a traditional family thing? Or are they happy for you?
My mom does the typical, like, that's what my mom says, right? My dad doesn't say much, like, to me, but then he goes around telling all his mates that I'm a writer and who my connects are and things like that. I don't do that, man. Like, I don't go and tell anybody who I'm connected to very much. I don't make it a point of it to say, "Oh, I'm with Tru-Skool," or you know what I mean? Like, if it comes up and they ask me a question, then of course I'll let them know where I started. But I'm like, Tru-Skool na hunda dar bhi aada pata, music badhiya banada hai, bahut badhiya Diljit naal bhi odi tape aisi, he'll do things like that. Whereas like, I'm just,
but that's nice, though, isn't it? That's nice.
It is.
Your dad's quietly proud, isn't he?
But my mum, I think she's proud, but she's got the typical Punjabi mum thing. Which I find frustrating, man. Like, like what I think is Punjabi parents should encourage their kids. And no matter how old they are, they should give them props and say, "Well done, I'm proud of what you've achieved." Because I've got other family friends and family as well. They'll always say, "Well done,
she's probably worried how she's going to get you married off, mate."
No, I think my mum's more like, "Oh, I don't want him to get Jamlia," but she doesn't want me to get Jamlia. But I'm not gonna get Jamlia now. Like, it's nice to hear. you know what, like, so, like, you know, if your kids are doing well, like, I'd always urge you to encourage them and say, well done, you know, you've done a great job. Like,
absolutely.
To give them that confidence. At the same time, you know, there's a fine line with that. You don't want to boost them too much and give them a false sense of, if your son's terrible at football, don't tell him he's Ronaldo, because it will just shatter his illusions. But at the same time, if they're doing well or whatever, then you should. And even no matter how old we get, I bet you love it when your mom says, "Potto, main to khush hu, tu bahut badhiya geeta hai na." The other one, you just feel a bit warm in it. I say that to mom all the time. I guess, "Tu meri qadar nahi paudi, duniya meri qadar paudi hai." She goes, "Chal tawa ho,
But it's nice. At least they are supportive, and you're not. You know, you haven't got a negative in your family, because, you know, some people do have that. You know, it's kind of
they do
fighting two battles here, trying to follow their dreams.
I'm a strong person, so, you know, like, mentally, like, I'm quite strong and I'm quite vocal, and I'll fight for what's right. And then if somebody said to me, I don't want you to do this, I'm like, look, at the end of the day, I'm doing this because it's not hurting anybody. It's actually, I get so many messages of, you know, support, and people who say, you know, thank you for this song, and you made me feel like this, or this song made me feel good, and, you know, just thanks for all the work you're doing. And it makes one person happy and smile, man. I get messages from India all the time. And I'm like, I was born in England. And, you know, like, people saying, want to be like you, or there's lots of people who said to me, I want to be able to speak Punjabi like you, and, you know, do what you're doing and stuff. And that's so humbling, man. It's encouraging. Nice. Again, it gives you motivation and energy to do more.
Look, man, I've got to get out of here soon. But before you go, I want you to let everyone know listening, your social media handles, where they can catch up with updates and what you're up to next. And
okay. If you guys want to follow me on, if you've enjoyed what you've heard so far, and you can hear more of this kind of stuff, and just keep up my journey on Dhami. So it's at Dhami, OH Dhami. I basically changed all my social media handles recently because I couldn't get them uniform. I couldn't get Dhami Amarjit on all of them.
Oh, you want to say
now? Now, here the annoying thing is some people are like, oh, OH Dhami, which is just like, no, it's Dhami. Like, this it shouldn't, you know what I mean? There's nothing too complicated about it. So it's just at
it's the same people asking you if you rapped on that song.
Exactly.
After you told them, I rapped on the song.
Said to me, you know, Tru-Skool goes, you've got to be careful on social media. You've got to be very clear. Because why? He goes, sometimes I'll write, hi, here's my new song out next week. And then somebody would comment underneath, bro, is it a song or an album?
Yeah.
And then, like, bro, when is this coming out? And he's like, when it says next week in the tweet, like, So
I get that shit when I say a new show out, and they said, when is it out? And I'm saying it's out. Here's a link, you know. So people are different, mate. You know.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, like, you can follow me on at Dhami. I've also got TikTok. I've not used it properly yet, but I will do soon. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the usual. Basically, you hear a lot more lyrics from me and a lot more material from me with artists who I'm affiliated with, artists who are not affiliated with me yet. And you'll also hear me on my own songs as well very, very soon, as soon as I get the green light on them projects as well, man. So, yeah, we're coming through thick and fast. And thanks to Sat and for having me on his podcast. It good,
took 6 years. Like you said, to get you on.
It started before I was born, when Sat message said, like, I'm gonna, in the spiritual realm, and he's like, I'm gonna get you on my podcast.
You know what? I'm gonna get you back on next month. Next month, come back on once this COVID shit's over. We'll meet and we'll do another one. And
all right then. Yeah, we'll do it face to face, man. Like with a 2 meter distance.
Yeah, we'll do that definitely.
Social distance. And look, Baki, when is it gonna go up? This one's gonna go up. When
do you want it up, mate? Next week?
Well, because I was going to say, look, if it goes up now, I say to everybody, please take care of yourselves and your loved ones right now. You know,
it'll be next week some point. Yeah.
It's a bad situation right now. I don't even know how I've been sitting, you know, so I feel a bit uncomfortable because I've got that light shining on me. I hope it's not coming through in the video all the way through.
No, you look holy.
Oh, God. Holy as in a hole in my sock, or...
You know what? I'm gonna chop that bit out when we was talking about the sea, and as a raindrop is part of the sea, and you've got that light coming on from behind you. They're gonna think this is like a spiritual podcast.
That's right. And then when they hear it, it's just me and you talking nonsense. No.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You know what? It's good fun. It's like, it's informal. It doesn't feel very interviewee. It just feels like a conversation, and it is, isn't it? I mean,
it is.
I do want to say, like, thank you to everybody that does support and does show genuine, like, encouragement. I get a lot of messages and I get a lot of people commenting and stuff. And honestly, it might sound stupid, but a comment, it gives you fuel. It makes you think, you know what, look how nice that was to hear that from somebody from here. Balwinder Safri commented on my interview last week, man. Like, he saw an interview of me and he saw it on my Facebook wall. And he went, very nice, Amarjit. Well done. And then I went, yo, Balwinder Safri, I commented back. I can't believe you commented. And he went, keep writing good songs. You'll be remembered for life. I promise you. He wrote that on my wall, man, Balwinder Safri. And I was like, what the hell? Like,
Safri was amazing, wasn't he? He was absolutely
phenomenal. Like, the vocal prowess that he has and had, you can't argue with that. So, like, everybody out there who does support me, thank you very much. And wholeheartedly, a big, massive thank you to Sapati Singh, Tru-Skool, because if it wasn't for that talented, kind-hearted and noble person, I probably wouldn't be doing this, and you probably wouldn't be seeing me on things like this. So, I want to give props to, and just everybody out there, my friends and family, everyone who stands by me. And, I've got people who I've never physically met who've got my back, you know what I mean? And I really appreciate that, When I'm bothered about it. Like, so I went to Punjab, right? I had this guy called Sandeep Bajwa. He came from Patiala. He drove to Ludhiana. I think it took him 3 hours in traffic to come and see me, man, at the Manak Mela. Then he went and found me at the Mela. Then he gifted me some books as well. He gifted me a few books and took a picture with me, and, he came to see me. And it's very, 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 very humbling, like, because I remember being that person who wanted to see artists and wanted to take pictures and autographs and, like that kind of stuff. So I'm blessed, man.
So exciting times ahead. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
I do, genuinely.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing you in person once shit's over and done with. We will meet each other. You could come to Gravesend, capital of Bhangra, and
Canal, mate.
Yeah, or Derby,
Canal, mate,
or wherever you are. And
Leicester.
No, wherever you are at the time.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Leicester's my spiritual home. Remember? Derby's my spiritual home. Leicester's my physical home. Yeah,
so wherever you are at the time, I'll try and catch up with you, mate. Or if you're in Yorkshire or something, we'll hook up.
We'll make it's no sweat, man. I'll make a trip down. It's not an issue.
Yeah, we'll get it done, mate. And I wish you all the best. I'm looking forward to hearing more things from you, songs, your own vocals, that Jazzy B bloody song.
Man.
We'll get that done. We'll get it sorted. We'll get Suk on the show.
We will. The universe will make it happen.
We'll make it happen, man.
We'll make it happen,
But thanks anyway, brother. Take care, mate. And I hope
Thank you so much.
You and your family are all safe and sound. And I wish you all the best.
I wish you the same, man. And I wish you peace and happiness and success in the quest for what we're all looking for.
Take care, man.
Take care, brother. God bless you, man. Thank you.